Ever thought about how a name, especially place name, can actually become a battleground in the business world today? We're doing a deep dive into a really fascinating and honestly a bit of a poignant story. It involves a beloved UK community business and this big transatlantic trademark dispute. Our source material is mainly from a YouTube transcript by Mark1333, detailing a BBC London report by Layla Hayes. And our mission, really, is to unpack the story of Brixton Street Wear. They're a brand that's so deeply rooted in its community. And we want to explore these surprising challenges they're facing just for using the name of the place they call home. It really makes you stop and think.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating because you see how intellectual property law can sometimes just clash head on with local identity and, community impact. This isn't just about some abstract brand name. It's about a real place, a culture, the heart of a community, really. It highlights this tension, between these big global legal frameworks and that very personal connection people have to their origins, especially when it's tied up with their livelihood, their work, their giving back.
Okay, so let's really unpack this. To get the gravity of it, we need to understand who Brixton Street Wear actually is. It's not just another clothing store, right? From what I've gathered, it sounds like much more.
It's far from your typical shop. Brixton Street Wear is, well, it's become a kind of pillar in the community. It was started about 6 years back by two brothers. And get this, they're also London cab drivers.
Cab drivers, wow.
Yeah. So you can imagine the dedication. Driving cabs, then pouring energy into this. It started really small, very organic, just making T-shirts for friends and family initially. But it just grew from there. And over these 6 years, it's really blossomed into something of an institution right there in the heart of Brixton Market. It's not just a store. People describe it as a hub where locals gather, a place where the community feels, connected, seen.
That idea of a business being woven into the neighborhood, becoming an institution, that's powerful. And their dedication to the community, it's not just a side thing, is it? It sounds like it's central, the whole giving back mission.
Absolutely central. That's what really sets them apart, their core principle. All profits are poured back into community projects.
All profits. Seriously.
Yep. It's not 10% or something. It's the foundation. One of the brothers, Daniel O'Connell, he even mentioned changing his initials to definition of community when they decided to commit to working in Brixton.
Wow. That's a statement.
It really is. It shows how deep that commitment runs. And you hear it from the locals, too. They say it's a place where kids come get inspired, seeing people doing good things. One local put it so powerfully, saying something like, "I used to be one of these kids. I wish I had people like these guys to look up to so they don't go the wrong way."
That hits hard. It shows they're more than just shopkeepers. They're role models.
Exactly. It underlines that phrase, places like this are very important, not just for the economy, but socially, culturally, guiding the next generation. It's a huge testament to their impact.
So you've got this incredibly positive force in the community, deeply loved, doing amazing work. And then the story takes this sharp, troubling turn. They're facing a legal battle. It seems so jarring.
It really does. This is where things get complicated. The brothers, the founders, they've been threatened with legal action. It's coming from a U.S. company called Brixton LLC, based in California. And this company is demanding that the brothers' local business stops using the place name, Brixton.
Stop using the name of the place they're in and named after.
Precisely. It feels like a classic David and Goliath thing, but with this twist, it's not some generic name. It's their home, their identity.
So, okay, the community connection is clear. But legally, how does being from Brixton stack up against a big company, maybe one that's trademarked Brixton internationally?
That's the crux of it, legally speaking.
Yeah.
And it is complex. Trademark rights are usually territorial. So Brixton Street Wear's UK registration protects them in the UK. Brixton LLC likely has US rights. The conflict comes when the US company tries to enforce those rights beyond the US, arguing maybe likelihood of confusion or using international systems. From Brixton Street Wear's side, though, their perspective is just crystal clear. They've said, and this is a direct quote, "We are from Brixton, we are Brixton, our company's based in Brixton."
It's just factual for them.
Right. It's not marketing speak. It's just reality. And they point out their trademark, too. In the UK, they have that registration. You can really feel their frustration. One brother said, "I don't understand. I can understand why their problem is, but they should have worked with us. Or should work with us, Yeah. It's a call for, dialogue, not just aggression.
And as the U.S. company responded, did the BBC get anything from them?
Apparently not. The report mentioned the BBC contacted Brixton LLC in California asking why they're doing this, but silence. So far, they haven't responded.
That lack of communication doesn't help, does it?
Not at all. It just adds to the feeling of injustice and leaves everyone guessing about their actual motives or legal angle.
So it really brings up this fundamental question for all of us, I think. When does a place name like Brixton stop being this shared identifier and become a brand name that one company, maybe miles away, can exclusively own? Especially when it's so central to a local business's whole identity and mission. Where's that line?
Exactly. It's a critical point because the implications are potentially huge. If the name of a vibrant, well-known community can effectively be claimed by an outside company, what does that mean for local heritage, for identity? Legally, it often involves concepts like secondary meaning. The U.S. company might argue they've invested so much that Brixton now primarily means their brand in the marketplace, even though it started as a place name. But the challenge is, where's the limit? Especially when another business genuinely is from Brixton and has its own legitimate connection and, crucially, a UK trademark.
And this fight, it's not just happening on paper in lawyers' offices. It's having real-world consequences, right?
Yeah.
For the community, for the brothers themselves.
Absolutely. The ripple effect is huge. You can feel the community rallying around them. Locals are described as very upset, and we heard that quote from Sandra from Gogglebox.
Yeah, the Christmas sweater lady.
Right. She said, "I'm very upset. Somebody's trying to shut down the shop. We've been here for many, many years, and as a Brickstar myself, I've been coming here and getting my yearly sweater for Christmas." It's such a lovely personal detail. It shows it's not just a shop, it's part of people's lives, their traditions.
It really underscores that it's more than a brand.
Definitely. It's that inspiration point for local kids, the positive influence we talked about. When a business means that much, a threat like this feels, it feels personal to the whole community, like an attack on something they value deeply.
And what about the brothers themselves? I mean, you mentioned the dedication, driving cabs.
Yeah.
This must be taking a massive toll on them personally.
Oh, unquestionably. The source makes that painfully clear. All of this has caused huge stress. There's a quote from one of the brothers that really brings it home. He says, "This is a mad headache I ain't. Last night I never slept. I was up at 4.45 this morning." You know what I mean? So it's quite a pressure.
Wow. Losing sleep over it, you can just hear the strain.
You really can. It's easy to forget the human cost behind these legal battles, but hearing that, you feel the weight on them. It must be overwhelming.
And financially, can they even fight this?
That's the other harsh reality. They explicitly state they can't afford to fight this in court. And that's the story for so many small businesses, isn't it? The cost of legal action is just prohibitive. It creates this massive power imbalance. Right now, their hope is simply that an agreement can be reached. It's a plea for some kind of reasonable solution to avoid a fight that could ruin everything they've built.
So looking beyond just this one shop, this one dispute, what are the wider implications here for other local businesses, especially ones named after their location? Could this set a precedent?
It absolutely could. And that's something the brothers themselves pointed out. One of them estimated, I think there's over 600 companies in Brixton that have got the word Brixton in their name.
600, wow.
Yeah. So he asks this really potent question. So are you telling me that every time they put Brixton on their T-shirt, they can't use it?
It throws into sharp relief this question about the rights of local businesses. Can they use their own geographical identifier without worrying about legal threats from somewhere else entirely? It feels like it could lead to a situation where local identity itself becomes something you have to license.
Yeah, it's worrying. If you're a small business owner listening to this, or just someone who loves supporting local shops, it really highlights how vulnerable these community ventures can be. It's not just about having a good idea or working hard. You're also up against these complex legal systems that can feel completely stacked against you. It really does underscore that imbalance of resources, a small community-focused venture versus presumably a much larger international corporation. The cost of just defending yourself can be enough to sink a small business, even if they have a strong case like having prior use or the name being clearly descriptive of their location. It forces you to think about the ethics of it all, doesn't it, when intellectual property law bumps up against community identity in such a fundamental way.
So we've taken this deep dive into Brixton Street Wear story. It's clearly a business that's so much more than just clothes. It's a community lifeline and inspiration. And now it's caught in this really complex legal fight.
Yeah, we've seen how deep their roots go in Brixton, their amazing commitment to local projects, the genuine love from the community, and how all of that is now facing this threat over a name. It's such a stark example of that tension between brand ownership, often defined globally, and local identity, which is so deeply personal and place-based. It's a fragile balance.
It definitely leaves you thinking. In a world where big brands seem intent on trademarking, well, almost anything, what happens to the rights of local businesses, local communities, to simply be who they are, to use the names of their own homes without facing legal challenges from afar? Where do we draw the line, not just legally, but maybe ethically too? Something to ponder perhaps next time you look at the names of shops and places around you and consider the stories they hold.